English 112, Miss Brewer here for your final lecture video. So this week you guys are going to be putting everything together that we've worked on all week into a PowerPoint presentation that will cover your topic, the social organization that you have chosen, and the poetry. You'll make connections from, the beginning to the end of the course in this presentation. So if you want to go ahead and follow along with me in Moodle, I'm going to open up your business writing PowerPoint assignment details. So this is the final choice. This is the final project for the class. You guys are going to do a PowerPoint. I do want a PowerPoint. I don't want Prezis or anything like that. So make sure you're using the Microsoft Office download that is free through the college and use PowerPoint. So what you're going to be doing is presenting on a organization that pertains to the issue that you researched for your literature review. Okay, so if I wrote my literature review on racial inequality, then I might choose an organization like Race Forward or the NAACP, or there's tons of organizations on the list that I provided. You are not stuck to just that list. So if you want to choose a different organization that's not on that list, that's fine. And you guys should have posted which organization you chose in the forum so that you guys do not have repeats of organizations. So the way that you're going to do this is essentially you're teaching your classmates about the issue at hand, the organization and what they do, and then you're making the connection back to the poetry that we read at the beginning of the semester. So that's really important to make that connection. So when I say that your slideshow must be researched, that means that you're going to include background information on your topic. This will come from the literature review that you've already done, so you don't need to do additional research. Those main points, those subheadings that you talked about, that would be what you would talk about in your presentation. Obviously, you're not going to give all of the information from the literature review. You're going to condense it into the most important information or statistics, just to give us a background on the topic. Then you'll go ahead and teach us about what does the organization do to address these issues. So the source that you're going to use for the organization is their website. You will need to have a citation for their website in APA format on your references page. That's really important. You will also need to cite the poem because you're going to quote it. I want to quote from the poem that links together the topic and the organization and then the literature, the poetry, and make sure that you change the citation for the poem into APA format. Everything should be APA format for this particular presentation. We're going to be using business writing style. What that means is it's very short, very to the point. In the presentation, you don't even need to use complete sentences. You are going to be concise. You're going to give the information. The idea of a presentation is that it would pair with you speaking. So you would say a lot more than what was on the slides. We in this class don't have time to get into that whole speaking part of it, so I just want to see what you gathered together for the presentation. I do give you guys a suggestion of some slide layouts and the organization that you can have for it. It's a suggestion. You can have some freedom with this assignment. So as long as you have the requirements, meaning you connect to the poetry, you teach about the background, and you talk about your organization, and you include documentation, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So you have some freedom in how you organize it. You do it how it makes sense to you, okay? And we'll talk about the rubric in just a second. So I'm going back to week 10. All right, I want to talk about the PowerPoint expectations. So we're going to open up that page. This is really important. So when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, I like to follow the rule of 7, okay? So the rule of 7 means that you have no more than 7 lines of text. That's not sentences, that's lines of text, and no more than 7 words long per line, okay? Again, you don't have to use complete sentences. If you are quoting anything, that quote should stand alone on the slide by itself. And then when you're giving basic information, you're bulleting and kind of just getting it short, sweet, to the point. All right, so no more than 7 lines of text, 7 words per slide. The idea here is to avoid paragraphs in your slides. You don't want your audience reading the paragraph. You want them listening to what you're saying when you're presenting. So they need to be able to quickly go through the most important things that are on that slideshow. Make sure that you do provide background information, that you're teaching a little bit about the issue, again, coming from your literature review. Connect it to at least one poem that we read together. Make sure that it's the poems that I assigned. You don't get to search for a different poem. It should be one that we all have already read. And then teach about your organization and how does it address that issue. When I give you these slides, this is a suggestion, all right? So that's why there's varying numbers of slides. The title slide should be APA cover page style. That's the information I want on the title slide. Anywhere from, 6 to 8 slides of background information. Pull information from your literature review to teach about your topic. Then I want you to spend, 1 or 2 slides connecting it to the poetry. That would be where you would include quotations from the poetry. And then you want to spend about 5 to 7 slides teaching us about what does the organization do. You don't want more than like 1 slide on the background. I really want to know what actions they are taking to address your social issue. And again, you're going to get that information from their website. And then you need to have a references slide. So you'll include, and again, I'm going to fix it right now. You're going to include the poetry, the articles from your literature review, and you're going to include, of course, the website for your social organization. So make sure that you switch the MLA formatted citation that you have already for the poetry. You'll need to change it to APA format. That's important. I want you to be able to navigate between those two. So I'm providing you guys with a student example PowerPoint. It's not perfect. No student examples are, but it did get an A, so that's something to consider. This was something that was turned in before we switched to 7th edition APA, so I want to make sure you're aware of that. So your title slide will have more information than what this title slide has, right? Because APA 7th requires more. And then you can see that there's like a brief introduction. For me, I would rather you didn't have a paragraph, all right? But it's acceptable, I suppose, for this. Here's what's beautiful. We're using business writing. So now you're allowed to use contractions again. And when you write about why you chose your organization, you're allowed to use personal pronouns again, all right? Because this would be a speech, so you would use personal pronouns. What I really wanted to show you guys here is they have the background information, and you can see that they're just little snippets of fact and that they're citing those things in APA format, okay? I like that they have the different risk factors. I love the way that it's set up in a different way, so it's easier to read. They do not follow the rule of 7 here, so they probably got docked a little bit there. But I want you to be creative in how you present your information. I also want you to present it in a way that's clear and concise. Don't have any words that bounce and swing and flip in, all right? You want to be able to click the slide and everything's on the slide. I don't want things like popping in and having to click multiple times, all right? So it's really important that everything just shows up on that slide. And I would tell you that if you were presenting in class as well, because when you stand up in front of people and get nervous, then you fall behind if you have to click a bunch of times on one slide. So you just want to do one click and everything shows up, okay? And so you can kind of see how they've done their different citations here. You can see how, I love how they presented the information in a way that's similar throughout, all right? So they didn't change the information. They didn't change like the slide layouts. It's the same throughout, but it does like provide it in a very like creative way. Now this is from when we read Othello. Obviously you guys read poetry, but you will make connections to the poetry, okay? So you will pull some quotes from the poetry that link together that social issue and that social organization. I would love a conclusion slide, and then your references will be in APA format. So you're going to be submitting that PowerPoint this week. That's your final project grade for your APA category. You're also going to be completing your final exam this week. And here's what I'll tell you about your final exam, all right? this tells you essentially what you're going to study. My study guides aren't questions from the exam. It's just telling you how to go back through the Moodle course and study. You'll need to look at how to analyze poetry. Really look at the attendance assignment questions that I've provided with you guys. So, and what is the purpose of what we've done through the class? So, what is the purpose of a literary analysis? What is the purpose of a thesis statement? What is the purpose of an outline? What is the purpose of an annotated bibliography? What is the purpose of a literature review? What are the sections of a literature review? The only things that you'll see show up from the business writing style lecture from last week, I think, is I want to know about the various forms of writing. So email, letter, memo, things like that. And I want to know about the ABC format in writing for business style for an email or a letter, the abstract, the body, and the conclusion. So make sure that you know about those things for the final. Okay, you'll need to be able to identify if something is an APA citation or an MLA citation. You'll need to understand the different writing styles, whether formal academic writing styles or business writing styles. When you take this exam, there is only one question that requires more than one answer. So the way that Moodle words it, it's like choose one or more, but I actually write in the question when you will choose more than one answer, okay? And there's only one, so pay attention to that. And then, of course, understanding the various forms of written communication, essays, reports, annotated bibs, emails, memos, business letters, okay, those types of things. So that's what's going to be on your final exam. That final exam will open up on the 19th and it will close on the 25th. There will be no extensions on the assignments for the last week, so make sure that you get them done. There is a course reflection. This is a journal that is worth more than your normal journals. Please make sure that you have written 300 to 500 words, that you have addressed the question, that you have used examples from the poetry and the research, all right? I want you to really reflect here on things that may have changed for you, things that you may have learned, all right? That's what I want you to be saying. If you haven't changed at all in the last 10 weeks, I'm concerned a little bit because you should have learned something, hopefully. So you're writing 300 to 500 words on that, and that is a little bit of a higher counted, higher graded, a higher point count journal entry for your final journal. And then you'll scroll down out of this week's module, you'll see it says, thanks for a great class. This final course survey is optional. But if you do want to fill it out, then do fill it out with detail. I need to know what you really thought. Also remember, I'm reading you, I know who you are. So, try to be not mean, but be honest. If something didn't work for you, let me know why it didn't work. And, give me that information. I use this personally, and I have made many changes to my course with the information that students have provided through these surveys. Here's what I'm going to do. If you complete the survey, if you look at number 8, I will add 5 points to an assignment of your choice just for completing the survey. So this is an extra credit opportunity for you, but you have to tell me which assignment. If you say whichever one's going to do the best, I'm not doing it. I don't have time to do that math for you. So you need to go through your grades, pick the assignment that you want me to add the points to, and that's where you need to write that in the 8. If you are not clear about it, then I cannot add points somewhere. So that's really important to think about. So my intention, your grades should be finalized on, let's see, when does this class? The last day of class is the 27th. So you should see your grades finalized in Moodle on the 26th. And then I will make an announcement in the class as soon as they are finalized, and you need to look at your grades immediately when I make that announcement and reach out to me if there's any concerns. Once I finalize the grades in a web advisor, then they're done. So look for that announcement sometime Monday, and make sure that you review everything. Your grades will be finalized in web advisor on Tuesday morning. If you guys have any questions about the end of the class, let me know. Reach out to me through email, or we can meet virtually or on the phone, whatever works for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the class and the reading and the research and got a little something out of it in a condensed class. And I appreciate everything that you guys did this semester. Have a great rest of your summer, and I hope you guys have a successful fall.